For most of you, when you think about the alpha, you think about like the alpha male, the alpha dog, the big wig, the one who runs everything, the big cheese. In reality, alpha means beginning, the start. Omega means end. We all have our starts and we all have our ends. At this point, many of you are getting to your Omega at East Meck. You'll be graduating this year. Congratulations. My alpha for East Meck was in September of 2002, before most of you were born, I believe. My Omega for East Meck is also going to be June of 2019. I am retiring after being in the classroom since 1976. It is a change for me, just like it's going to be a change for you. But one of the things, even though you're young and you think I'm very old, one of the things that happens is for us, those Omegas, as well as those Alphas, kind of bring about the same feelings. When I was young, we liked to go, drive around the countryside, and we would stop at old cemeteries and look at the tombstones and read some of the inscriptions on them. One of the favorite inscriptions that many tombstones that I read was, "Where you are now, I once was. Where I am now, you will be." And ultimately, since your alpha, your birth, the only thing that has been determined is that you will have an Omega and die. Not to be depressing, but it does happen that way. In my own family, we are dealing with an alpha and Omega event like that. My niece is pregnant. She is going to have my mother's first grandchild. At the same time, my mother is at her Omega. She is dying. She knows it, we know it. Both events are joyful in ways. My mother's Omega is kind of sad and hard in many ways. But there's that commonality that pulls us together during these events. I remember when I was in your shoes, and I went to college. My grandmother and mother drove me up. We had station wagons back then, not SUVs. And it was all packed with stuff. We had a lot less to pack because we didn't bring things like refrigerators and TVs and that kind of stuff. Things were a lot different then. They pulled up. I took my suitcases and my electric typewriter, the height of technology at that time, put it on the curb. They gave me hugs. They probably gave me a kiss and they drove off. And as I remember it, they did not turn and wave bye. And I was standing there on the curb, and I remember being very scared. Here I was, starting this new part of my life, not knowing where it was going, in a place where I didn't really know anybody. And there were 3 guys from my high school that were going to the same college, but I didn't like that. They didn't like me either, so they didn't count. I'm scared. Many of the students that I talked to over the years, as they leave East Meck, as much as they were excited about going, are also scared. Even though there's a lot of years in between those 2 events. And in between those 2 events, generations of people, when they've left high school, whether they have gone to college, or got a job, or moved, or did something else, that being scared is part of it. That's that commonality that we have when we're celebrating our alphas and our omegas. I'm starting a new life, just like you are. Yours is probably a little bit more well-defined than what I'm going to do. In fact, many people are asking me, what are you going to do? I don't know. I got plans. We'll see if they work out. You're a little bit more set. It's going to be the first time in 50 years that I haven't had a job. That's kind of exciting. And also a little bit scary. We're going through that. of the other people who talked earlier today, she told me she was scared of her talk, of giving it. And I said, so am I. I've been back there sweating for the last 10, 15 minutes, okay? And you think, because I talk for a living in front of you in small groups where I can see you every day, this wouldn't scare me. But this does, it's different. It's that commonality that we have to deal with. Many of you know I like history. To me, history is not just a bunch of names. You refer to them, a lot of you refer to them as the dead guys. To me, they're not dead, they're people. I mean, they are dead, but they're people. They were real lives. They had the same feelings, fears, hopes, dreams, etc. that you do and I do. And one of the ways that history comes alive for me is that commonality is what I think about. What would they think about this? How would they deal with this? How would they feel at that particular time? I know if my grandparents came back today, they would be very amazed at the world that we live in. Cars all over the place. My grandmother and grandfather married in a time period where when you dated, you went in the horse and buggy. Okay? Cell phones, neither one of them would have seen that. Let alone phones where you could actually look and see people on the other end of it, if you have the capacity to do that. Which, as many of you know, I don't. Those differences, that technology is different for us. They could get lost in the technology. I sometimes get lost in the technology by my choice. But in terms of what we feel, in terms of those experiences that we have between our alphas and omegas, they're the same. That's what we have to remember. That's what I have to remember. That's what I've tried to remember in my years teaching you. That while you may have all of these little gadgets, and you may hide stuff in your book bag and kind of go like this and pretend that I don't know what you're doing. Or your crotch area is glowing and I'm not supposed to know what you're doing. It's kind of like the old thing we used to do where we would put a book up over our face, over our mouth, and then turn our head to talk. They knew what we were doing, you know. That's just the way it is. It's the technology separates us in some ways. But the humanity, the things that we feel, the joy, the sadness, the anger, the compassion, all of those bind us together. Technology does not make us human. Being human draws us together. Technology really doesn't, even though we have greater access to one another. Please remember that focusing in on the humanity and focusing in on how much we are alike will make us better people, will make the people around us better people, and will make the world a better place. Thank you.